Coming.
The general may be about to say that he's running. The pressure on him to choose another line of work is increasing too. Reporting from Washington tonight, ABC's Jim Wooten.
Not everybody's on the Powell bandwagon. In Washington today, these prominent anti-abortion social and religious conservatives voiced their fierce antagonism to his potential candidacy. A potential disaster, they said.
Colin Powell, as a Republican nominee, takes the party away from those key positions to the mushy middle. I believe that he will take the party to defeat.
There's a reason these anti-Powell forces went on the record and the network cameras today. They think the general's about to say yes. They'd prefer he says no. Ideologically, he's not their kind of guy. But even the mere possibility of his candidacy has completely captivated much of the country.
Tonight, the Powell Doctrine.
Like nothing else and nobody else.
As Colin Powell mutates from retired general to politician,
the nation's news and information arteries are clogged with this face, that name.
Now, Colin Powell is a good man.
Mr. Colin Powell. Colin Powell said this is a racist country.
Do you think Colin Powell will run for the presidency?
Colin Powell's going to get in.
I have no idea whether the general will run. But
I hope you will forgive me if I do not talk about Colin Powell.
In the politics of America, there's been nothing quite like it since this former general couldn't make up his mind.
And I have a very strong sense of what the American people wanted in '52, and they wanted Ike. But they didn't want Ike as badly as the people today want Colin Powell. I'm just blown over by this.
Stephen Ambrose, Eisenhower biographer, is now pushing Powell to run, passionately committed like thousands of others who've enlisted
Draft Powell 96 committee, Ms.
in the general's so far non-existent campaign. From these Washington offices to similar headquarters in New York and New Hampshire, Iowa, and California, these are people who cannot imagine that Colin Powell will ultimately say no. Here's where Powell is now spending his time, his home in the Washington suburbs, considering the question on everyone's mind.
There will be several factors. One, do I bring something to the political dialogue in America that is useful, that is missing? Two, is this what I really want to do with this next phase of my life?
Ask yourself this question, Colin.
A little advice from a veteran of 2 national campaigns.
How can you best serve your country in the future? Is it to run for president and engage in partisan politics and run a significant risk of losing? Or is it to stay where you are?
But Quayle knows that Powell knows it's more than a question of should he run. At this late date, can he run and win? Can he put together the money and the organization? And more importantly, can he realistically hope to overcome the ferocious opposition of those who seem to control the Republican nominating process? Those who know him say he has made up his mind to make up his mind over the weekend. Jim Wooten, ABC News, Washington.
When we come back, some of the other news: 75 minutes of terror on a school bus, how anti-government militants are using the computer internet to promote violence, and our series on police officers who violate the law.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Hoover.
Nobody does it like you, the way that you do. Nobody's got the power to please me.
You can't see deep down embedded dirt, but now it can't hide from the new Hoover Dirt Finder. It electronically senses embedded dirt, so Hoover's powerful cleaning effectiveness can get what you might have missed. You'll know it's clean when the light turns green.
Hoover, nobody does it like you.
My wife's an outstanding dentist. She said, you have to try Mentadent toothpaste.
Mentadent is the only fluoride toothpaste with baking soda and peroxide in a pump.
There are these tiny bubbles that get between the teeth. It was like a shot of fresh air.
Mentadent.
It works.
Why pour, measure, lug, splash, and push to clean your hardwood floors when there's new Mop & Glow Hardwood Floor Cleaner? Just squirt and mop. No gelling residue, no rinsing. It couldn't be easier. New Mop & Glow Hardwood Floor Cleaner. One step away from clean.
In Miami this morning, a man who said he had a bomb hijacked a school bus carrying 11 disabled children and 2 adults. The police finally shot him, but it was an excruciating hour and 15 minutes for the children. In Miami, ABC's Mark Potter.
The hijacked school bus was escorted by police, who cleared traffic for nearly 20 miles along Miami highways. The hijacker, identified as 42-year-old Catalino Sang, claimed to have a bomb and indicated he was upset with the Internal Revenue Service. Police tried to negotiate by cell phone with the man who had climbed aboard at a bus stop. He ordered the driver to take him to a Miami Beach restaurant where he had worked as a waiter.
He said that if we tried to stop him, that he would detonate a device that he was carrying with him. He also motioned several times inside his jacket as if he had a firearm under his jacket, under his shirt.
Shortly after the bus arrived, police stormed it and killed the hijacker. The shots could be heard. As it turned out, the man was not carrying a bomb. Of the 11 special education students aboard, only one suffered minor injuries from flying glass. The driver, Alicia Chapman, who hurt her foot, is being described as a hero for remaining so calm. Shortly afterward, the children were reunited with their worried parents at their elementary school. Mark Potter, ABC News, Miami.
In Washington today, some pretty stark evidence about Americans who want to get government. There's been a lot of talk about the government successes in response to the so-called citizens' militias. As ABC's Barry Serafin reports, there are some mean individuals out there, and they are using new methods.
Witnesses said militias and related groups are presenting problems on a number of fronts, including the internet, where some are sharing terrorist techniques.
As recently as Monday, a message was posted encouraging the disruption of universities through the use of homemade button and pipe bombs.
In Montana, an armed group of militia fugitives has defied arrest and threatened a prosecutor.
The threats which I've received throughout this ordeal have included threats to be kidnapped, grabbed, arrested, hung, and shot.
Others described what was called paper terrorism. For example, filing phony liens or claims against property belonging to police and judges.
As many as 30 of our 62 sheriffs had liens filed with the county clerk and recorder on their private residence.
Another type of harassment involves bogus arrest warrants and indictments.
This document was received by the Ohio Attorney General. It indicts Betty Montgomery, the Attorney General, for the crime of perjury.
Today's witnesses said they did not want to infringe on free speech, but they called for new laws to crack down on the terrorism and harassment practiced by some extremists. Barry Serafin, ABC News, Washington.
There is fascinating news from space. A star is born for us to see. Pictures from the Hubble Space Telescope showing great globs of interstellar gas 41 quindecillion miles away. That is 41 plus 15 zero miles away. Inside those clouds, which astronomers call elephant trunks, the gas is so dense that it collapses, forming tiny stars which grow out of the trunk's ends. Scientists have speculated that some stars are actually formed this way, and now they are seeing it. We'll be back.
Hey, here's something delicious that has the flavor of fruit, not fat. A low-fat, chewy granola bar from Nature Valley. It's like finding a candy bar with the flavor of fruit, not fat. Just look here in Nature Valley.
The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover has a unique cup-shaped brush head that removes plaque more effectively than a manual toothbrush, leaving your teeth so clean you can feel it. The Braun Oral-B Plaque Remover cleans better than a manual toothbrush.
You know, there's nothing more fun than a vacation at sea. You can lounge in the fresh air, visit romantic ports, enjoy fine dining, great shows, pampered service. I love it here. There's so much to do.
Holly, Hal, hi, Kathy.
Hi, Richard. What are you doing here?
Having the time of my life.
Oh.
If my friends can see me now.
Take a 3-, 4-, or 7-day vacation on Carnival, the most popular cruise line in the world.
I love this ship.
Louis, our oldest girl, she broke her neck in a car accident. Now she's having fun with her daughter's wedding.
It's been wonderful since the surgery. I don't have to think about my neck anymore. I got Aflac through work. When you need it, it's a blessing.
Aflac covers the unexpected cost of getting better, so you can get on with life.
I think she's too young.
I think they're ready.
It's fine with me. I just want a room.
If you were to take every honor, every award,
everything positive that's been said about the Toyota Camry and lay them end to end, you'd probably ask yourself, why did I do that? Better to drive one yourself and come up with a few accolades of your own. The 1996 Camry, the gold standard from Toyota.
A crime of passion is dangerous. Or a cover-up.
He's a player, likes his women.
I did not touch her, and I never had sex with her.
How far will it all go before Hollywood's biggest scandal is exposed?
Doesn't matter if you're in bed with them or not. You might be the next one dead.
Murder One, Thursday on ABC.
Scientists say today they have discovered much more information about a particular gene that they believe contributes to breast cancer. Here's ABC's George Strait.
Until today, scientists thought the gene in question, called BRCA1, only caused the small number of breast cancer cases that are inherited. The new discovery suggests the gene causes many more, including non-inherited cases of breast cancer, as many as 150,000 cases of the disease annually. In addition, researchers isolated the protein the gene makes. That's the substance that causes cells in breast tissue to become cancerous.
Once we get a better understanding of what this protein does, what its function in the cell is, then we might think of new ways of diagnosing, preventing, or treating the disease.
All women with breast cancer have this protein in their tumor cells. How much is present could predict how far the disease has spread.
The BRCA1 protein is likely to be a very important marker for tumor progression.
A test for the protein is years away, but researchers say within a few months, there should be a blood test available to detect the breast cancer gene itself and identify women at high risk. George Strait, ABC News, Washington.
Overseas now in South Africa today, the most senior military men and the defense minister of South Africa's former white minority government have been arrested and charged with murder. Here's ABC's Sheila McVicker.
The former defense minister and 10 retired generals. They are the most senior officials of the old apartheid regime to be charged with crimes. They are charged in connection with a massacre in 1987. 13 people, 6 of them children, were murdered in this house. The prosecution alleges the generals organized and orchestrated a campaign of violence that included death squads involved in the massacre.
What is happening here today is causing the biggest crisis that's ever been in the democracy of South Africa. South Africa's democracy is moving into a dark hour.
Conservative whites charge that only one side is being prosecuted. They point to the bombs of the African National Congress, some of them planned by the current defense minister Joe Modise when he was head of the ANC's armed wing. Some whites now say that if Modise is not prosecuted, their generals should not be either.
The message to South Africans is quite clear. There is not even-handedness.
South Africa's new leaders say that finding out the truth about this country's past will help reconcile blacks and whites. Others say the truth will only further divide them. Sheila McVicker, ABC News, Johannesburg.
In the Middle East today, 2 Palestinians whose cars were loaded with explosives set out to destroy 2 Israeli buses. They were detected by Israeli security men who forced them far enough away from the buses so that when they set their bombs off, a dozen Israelis were wounded, but not seriously. We learned tonight that the young American reporter who has been missing in Bosnia is alive and being held by the Serbs. David Rode works for the Christian Science Monitor, and efforts are being made tonight to have him released. Back in just a moment.
Welcome back to Ace Season Savings. Here comes a little something for all you do-it-yourselfers, followed by a traditional holiday favorite. And some handy gift ideas. Ace Season Savings. March in today.
Once there were only 2 guarantees in life, death and taxes. I can help you with the taxes, and now I can tell you about a 3rd guarantee, the 100% satisfaction guarantee at Comfort Inns and Suites. If your room isn't right, they'll make it right, or the night's on them. That's right, a refund.
For Comfort Satisfaction Guarantee and free continental breakfast, call 1-800-228-5150.
In this case, I can't offer to come with you. Darn it.
Oh, I can't believe you're back so soon.
Tell me about it. Knee surgery is not my idea of fun.
You in pain?
Not now. My doctor gave me Tylenol, extra strength.
Boy, Tylenol works on that kind of pain?
Here I am.
More than aspirin, more than ibuprofen. From post-surgical pain to headaches, doctors recommend Tylenol the most.
Good run, huh?
Yeah, not bad.
It's not over.
Oh, man.
Tylenol, the pain reliever hospitals use most.
My dad has been my dentist since my first tooth has come in. This is the first toothpaste that he's ever sent me.
This is Tartar Control Mentadent with fluoride, baking soda, and peroxide. Mentadent helps stop tartar before it forms. Tartar Control Mentadent.
It has everything.
Call a day and night dealer to the rescue and get Day and Nights Plus 90i, the most totally efficient gas furnace. It can lower heating bills up to 40%. Call Day and Night to the rescue. 1-800-HOT-SAVE.
On the American agenda again tonight, the profoundly serious problem of police who violate the laws they are supposed to uphold. When corruption and abuse are as deeply rooted as they have been in some departments, it can drag down the reputation of a whole department. It happened in New Orleans. Our first reporter is from ABC's Aaron Hayes.
The corruption here has run deep.
Did you have any knowledge of drugs in that warehouse?
In just the past year and a half, 10 police officers charged with accepting bribes to protect a cocaine warehouse. 4 officers charged with murder. This one taped by the FBI, charged with ordering the execution of a citizen who had tried to turn him in.
I got the phone on and the radio. After it's done, go straight uptown and call me.
That, like nothing before it, shocked the city awake. Crime fighters were criminals, and the police department could not or would not police itself.
7710.
New Orleans became a town with a bad cop reputation, and that is making life tough for the good cops.
That's him. That's him.
They now start each day with a burden of proof.
Why you ran, man?
That they're not crooked.
You lose trust with the people on the streets. You know, they look down at you, and you know, you might have not ever did anything wrong in your career.
Jerry Oftemart is a new recruit. When his own father became a cop, he says, the New Orleans police force was among the best in the nation, and he wants that reputation back.
Every bad cop makes every good officer look bad. Do something else if you want to, you know, live a life of crime, but don't do it with the uniform on.
Something's going on in here.
Tommy Merkdale, an 8-year veteran, agrees. He says now all cops have to fight the perception that they are part of the corruption.
I'm going to have to try a little harder to convince them that, you know, it doesn't exist. In this unit, it doesn't exist.
961.
He knows it exists in other units, though. A number of his own academy classmates have been caught in the scandals.
Just run 2 soldiers for me.
You're going to see in the next 12 months that we're going to still be arresting police officers for criminal activity, for criminal involvement. We have some investigations that are going on now.
Right now. Let's go.
For cops on the beat, changes have been ordered. More training, more monitoring. And the police department says it has begun policing itself.
I view this in many respects as a holy war, a war to change this department, because it's got to be more than a political initiative. It's got to be a crusade.
Blue shirt.
A crusade they need desperately to win. The early signs are good. Federal officials who had threatened to take over are backing off. But all agree it is going to be a very long time before the uniform represents what it once did here, a commitment to uphold the law.
Okay, come here. I need to get...
This is Aaron Hayes for the American Agenda.
Which brings us to a report on trying to identify a potentially bad cop before he or she does any damage. Here's ABC's Ned Potter.
Is he a racist? Yes. Should such a person be a police officer? No. In fact, do we wish there were no such person on the planet? Yes.
Mark Furman. To many Americans, he has now become the symbol of what a police officer should not be. But how do you find the cop who's unfit to serve before he's beaten an innocent bystander or helped you lose a major case?
You want to get rid of your liability. You don't want certain people packing a gun if they don't have all their oars in the water.
What else about you would...
Police departments say there is a solution: standardized psychological testing. It's proved to be a very effective tool to identify the applicants who are not emotionally suited to be police.
Special detail Ramhurst.
Almost all the 50,000 officers hired in America this year will take psychological tests before they get the job.
Probably no other profession or occupation is screened as carefully as weapon-carrying law enforcement officers are.
Here's how the screening works. Fred Hughes is applying to be a policeman in the Chicago suburbs.
It's a questionnaire containing 241 agree to disagree statements.
He takes 4 standardized tests to evaluate his emotional stability and personality type. He must agree or disagree with statements like, "It is hard for me to just sit still and relax," or, "Sometimes I get so angry I could hit someone." If a candidate says yes to enough questions like that, it might suggest he's too impulsive for police work.
We look at the individual for maturity. We look for assertive behavior, but not aggressive behavior.
After 5 hours filling out a personal history and talking to a psychologist, Fred Hughes passed. But 15 to 20% of applicants are rated as poorly suited for police work. The problem is that some can appeal and be hired anyway, and long-term follow-up studies show they're more than twice as likely to fail at the police academy, 3 times as likely to commit offenses that get them fired. An extreme case in New Orleans. Policewoman Antoinette Frank was sentenced to death for murder. She had failed a psychological test 4 years before, but successfully protested the result.
Psych screening is not a silver bullet. And people want it, if you had a Furman and you had psych screening, why couldn't you tell he'd end up like that?
In fact, Mark Furman passed a psychological screening when he was first hired in 1975. But 6 years later, after several complaints, he was retested.
After evaluating him, they determined in 1981 that he was unfit psychologically to work on the job.
The irony is that since the pension department refused to believe he couldn't work, the police had to keep him and try to put him someplace harmless. He ended up doing homicide investigations. This is Ned Potter for the American Agenda.
When we come back, the department that is beating the problems.
For 15 years, we've taken good care of each other.
We sure have.
And to take better care of our health, we've started drinking Ensure.
Ensure is recommended #1 by doctors as a source of complete, balanced nutrition.
More than a vitamin supplement, Ensure has all the nutrients adults need to help stay healthy, active, be energetic.
Drink Ensure as a meal.
Or in between meals. Ensure. To your health, honey.
To our health.
Ensure, recommended #1 by doctors.
Thanks to Sprint Business, there's a company who does more business in skis.
Sprint gave us an edge.
Sprint worked with Volant and brought them real solutions to help them get ahead so they can check orders online from anywhere and promote new products through video conferencing. Now they do business a whole new way.
And sales are really soaring.
We'll help your business do more business. Call Sprint Business.
Ford introduces the all-new Taurus. For those who see life as a journey and want to enjoy the ride. Its speed-sensitive steering and responsive new suspension help you take new roads with confidence. While the powerful new 24-valve Duratec engine can go up to 100,000 miles between recommended tune-ups, which means you can go as far as your dreams. The all-new Ford Taurus.
I'm Steve Dunn. Coming up on Channel 2 News at 6:30, meet a 3-year-old hero who knew what to do when his mother had an emergency. And you've seen lots about the blown-up whale. Wait till you see the damage it did. Join us at 6:30.
Finally this evening, getting it right. We end this round of reporting on Trouble in Blue in Kansas City. In Kansas City, a violent police culture was cracked by applying pressure from the top. Our agenda reporter's Tom Foreman.
It was a Saturday night, and Kansas City police had arrested a man for allegedly stealing a bottle of beer. At the station, security cameras were rolling as an officer approached him in a van. Police say the man kicked him. The officer beat the man. The officer was suspended. In the past 5 years, more than 100 officers here have been fired or forced to quit in one of the nation's toughest crackdowns on cops who use too much force.
There must be strict control of those people who work the streets.
The reform started when Police Chief Stephen Bishop took office and brought with him a determination to end what he saw as years of abuse.
I wanted my community to respect the men and women in the police department and have confidence in it. I knew they couldn't if we continued to do things the old traditional way.
With exercises such as this one, Chief Bishop launched a new sweeping overhaul of the department's training programs for recruits and veterans.
Yeah, you gotta hurry, they're taking all my stuff!
Here, a confrontation between a landlord and tenant is acted out. The emphasis used to be on physical control of people in such circumstances. Now, officers are taught to defuse explosive situations by talking, explaining the law.
That doesn't mean you take her furniture.
Then those lessons are applied to real life, when officers are called, as these were, to settle a dispute between neighbors.
Maybe you can work out your problems because you all got to live next door to each other, right?
Officers are still taught how to use force when needed.
Stop resisting!
But under the chief's directive, the traditionally aggressive blackjacks and billy clubs were thrown out. Now officers are trained to use pepper spray and batons, which place an emphasis on subduing and restraining rather than attacking combative suspects.
When he's pulling away from you, can we use the baton? Only when he becomes assaultive.
The objective is to drill these ideas into officers in training, so on the street, cops will automatically employ them in violent situations.
You need to chill out. Stay on the ground, all right?
I will.
And because the chief felt the community and his officers should know each other better, he put dozens of cops on bicycle and foot patrols, increasing contact with residents.
How's it going?
The result? With more community involvement, arrests have soared, and complaints of excessive force have dropped 35%.
We have really made it clear that we want to solve problems, not create them. And that has brought more community support for us, more involvement in helping us deal with crime than we have ever had before.
Those who are trying to remake the police department here are hardly declaring victory. Indeed, they are the first to admit old attitudes, old habits die hard.
Driver, put your hands in the air!
But training programs such as these are now firmly in place. More than 40% of the current police force has been hired during the chief's crackdown. And officers suspected of using excessive force are being caught far more often than in the past.
Those officers have not been turned in by citizens. Those officers have been turned in by other officers. And that's the key. Right is right and wrong is wrong.
Walk to the wagon.
The key for this department has been to build an attitude of intolerance toward excessive force from the top down, then through training to take that attitude to the streets. This is Tom Foreman for the American Agenda.
And that is our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. See you tomorrow. Good night.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.
Tonight, Steve Martin proves that getting to the altar has never been more hysterical.
Is that $1,200?
Welcome to the 90s. Steve Martin, Diane Keaton, and Martin Short in Father of the Bride. Tonight at 8/7 Central on ABC.
Here's what's new ahead on Channel 2 News at 6:30. Quick thinking by a 3-year-old Washington boy saves his mother's life. His neighbors don't want it, so the man with a multi-million light display takes his show on the road. And Oregon's exploding whale. News of the Northwest is next.
When we bought our Saturn SL.
SC1?
SL2. I was so excited I couldn't sleep.
It was the first time I left the dealership
Without an upset stomach. Oh, totally.
They didn't try to steer me towards some $30,000 car.
They don't have one.
Best of all, they
didn't treat me like an idiot.
They did not ask me where my husband was.
Hello, I'm the one buying the car.
They even let our dog in the showroom.
The 1996 Saturn SC1 with plenty of room for Fido.
It's a great buying experience.